Hey everybody, and welcome to Channel ZDI. This is the Zelda Dungeon Informer community podcast where we talk about random shit and make fools of ourselves. Because I'm sure everybody loves that. This is technically the second episode of the podcast, but the first one since it came out last May 2016. We're considering this episode 1. This is more of a reboot. Hopefully it'll be a lot more consistent with releases from now on. Gonna plan to get into a pretty solid and a pretty good and consistent release schedule. I'm hoping for every 2 weeks to get an episode out. Whether that becomes a reality or not remains to be seen. But that's what I'm hoping for. Don't get your hopes up. Anyway, this episode is going to feature 3 segments. The first is going to be the Lorule Lounge, which is our discussion segment, which is where we, as a group, discuss, well, whatever we want, really. It's not limited to Zelda. This is a community podcast. The discussion topic this time, though, is going to be on Breath of the Wild. After that, we're going to have a review segment called Review Debates, which isn't just limited to game reviews. It's anything we want to talk about. That is going to be hosted by Pendio. And then after that, we're going to finish it off with the Master Quiz, which, like the rest of it, is not just focused on Zelda. This particular episode is, but it will not necessarily be from episodes from here on out. The Master Quiz is basically just a quiz. We got contestants to come in, and it's a trivia game basically, and that is hosted by DekuNut. So I think without further ado, it's time to just get on with the podcast. So sit back, have some drinks, and enjoy the show.
I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Lorule Lounge, the discussion segment of Channel ZDI. My name is Tristan, I will be your host this evening, and joining me for the discussion will be Chase, or DekuNut, Airy, or Link Floyd,
Yo.
and Petter, or Pendio, as you know him.
Hi.
Now that we've all been introduced, today's discussion topic is going to be on Breath of the Wild, because, everybody's super hyped about Breath of the Wild. So first I just want to ask if anybody has any, preliminary thoughts, and I'll start with you, Chase.
Oh, why do you start with me? Alright, so preliminary thoughts on Breath of the Wild. I'm really looking forward to Breath of the Wild, looking forward to really taking the series in a new direction from where it's been for the last 20... Actually, it's 30 years now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
30 years.
Really
31, I
blasting
think.
off in a new direction. Yep, 30. Yep. 1986. So yeah, 31. Yeah, my point stands.
All right, what about you, Airy? What do you have to say?
Well, I just have to say one thing. Voice acting after 30 years.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm really excited about the way things are going, I guess. I think it's definitely going to be a change from the normal Zelda. It's going to be more... I think it's going to be more exploring and finding stuff and gathering stuff, maybe in kind of a Minecraft-crafty way, instead of focusing on puzzles.
Yeah, that's actually something I've been super interested in as well, is that whole exploration aspect that they're including. What about you, Petter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're gonna put less focus on the puzzles just because they're having this massive overworld. I still think the dungeons are gonna be pretty puzzle-packed. At least I hope they will be. I mean, I feel like this open world, the whole deal about the open world, I feel like it's such a natural thing for Zelda. They should have done it sooner than this, to be honest. But I'm glad that is finally happening, because, well, obviously, because it's I feel like with the very first Zelda game, it's what they wanted to do, but they were restricted by the technology of the time.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that they didn't do it until now. But yeah, I'm very happy they did. I feel like Skyward Sword was kind of, or at least while playing Skyward Sword for the first time, I wanted. I like there was so many times when I really wished that it was more open than it was, and I think Breath of the Wild will not disappoint.
Yeah, that's actually my biggest complaint about Skyward Sword overall. Like, I love the game. It's a great game, contrary to what many certain people on ZD say constantly. But the exploration aspect was ruined with the segmented overworld that they did. But that looks like Breath of the Wild is really gonna be good with that. And going along with the puzzle thing, I think actually having such an open overworld creates a lot more potential for some great puzzles. I'm really excited to see what they do with that. But another one of the key things that I really wanted to talk about, as you mentioned, Ari, was the voice acting. It's the first Zelda game ever to actually have full-on voice acting in it. We had, like, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword had gibberish mumbles with Midnight Fi and stuff. But now we're actually getting a voice-acted Zelda game. What do you guys think about that?
I'm very excited for it. I remember back in the day, like years ago, I was very against the idea of Zelda, or of the Zelda games having voice acting, whether it be Link speaking or just everyone else. Like I was just all around against the idea of it. But at some point a few years back, I guess I started losing up to that idea, and I kind of actually started wanting voice acting in Zelda. I guess after I'd played a couple other games that had good voice acting, I felt like, why can't Zelda have this as well? Yeah.
See, I'm kind of indifferent on it, I think. I've seen some games with good voice acting, and then I've seen, Super Mario Sunshine, where the voice acting is just absolutely god-awful.
I love that.
So I'm kind of, like, a part of me is happy that they're finally doing it. I mean, it's been missing from Zelda for a long time, but I don't think it's a series that needs it, and I'm kind of have this fear that they're going to do a really bad job with it, and it's going to come out sounding really bad. Already from what we've seen, I can tell that the Japanese voice acting is so much better. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the English voice acting from what we've seen so far, but you never know. That could change, right?
Yeah, and trying to find voice actors not being very helpful so far.
You can probably find it once it's finally out, so.
Oh, definitely.
I'm
Yeah,
personally primarily judging based on what we saw in the Switch announcement trailer back in.
Yeah, I was pretty against the idea of
Yeah.
voice acting in those games for the longest time. But
I mean,
it was actually pretty recently when I started to want it. Because I was playing other games that had voice acting. I was like, well, why can't Zelda finally do this and do it good? But from the trailers, I think the English voice acting looks pretty good.
I agree with that, actually.
We'll see.
I've always been going back and forth on the idea of voice acting, because I like the idea of voice acting as a whole, but I really don't want Link to be voice acted. But if he's just quiet and everyone else is talking normally, actually I guess that kind of happens anyway, so it's not really a huge difference.
Me
Yeah.
too.
But really, I'm just worried about if they end up getting a voice actor for Link.
I don't think they
that
will. I really don't think they will.
I think Link should just stick to grunts and hayas.
Yeah, the good old.
And
Classic
maybe the
voice
occasional,
acting.
come on! Those were always good
like
too.
the Wind Waker, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think, I mean, I think they're probably mostly going to use voice acting for cutscenes. Other than, like, outside of the cutscenes, it's probably going to be text boxes, mostly.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it'll
kinda
just
like
be like
the-
pre-rendered cutscenes too.
Yeah, like the Professor Layton games and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, also, speaking of the voice acting, in one of the trailers, it might have been the one that the first one that showed a lot of voice acting in it. I kind of get the trailers mixed up, but in one of the trailers anyway, there was this one shot. It was a really short shot, but it was of this this character that everyone calls Falco, and he's like spin flying up in the air, and he's laughing in a way that I don't know. It just makes me super happy hearing that laughter. It's just so genuine. I love it. So yeah, I like that.
One thing I noticed is I'm pretty sure back in like the very first trailer we saw, whenever that was, like during their Treehouse presentation at E3, Zelda actually says Link. So I wonder if you'll be able to actually name your character, or if you do, if they'll call your character Link, or if they'll call them by their name.
Yeah.
So I remember...
Well, I don't think they'd call them by their name, because then they would have to have somebody voice
they'd have to
act
get Siri in on that, and nobody wants to get Siri in a Zelda
It can
game.
be done, though. It's been done before. I mean, not that great. Like, I remember back to... Do you guys remember Miitomo?
Well, yeah.
I never got into Miitomo.
I remember they actually like read it was a robotic voice like Siri, but it
Yeah.
actually read your name and
It's
it
like
read it.
Tamagotchi life,
it sounded
it's
it
the
out
same thing.
based on what was said.
Yeah.
So they can use that technology in Breath of the Wild, but I don't think it would work because it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's gonna
So
sound
I think they could
stupid.
do
I really
it.
hope they don't.
I hope they don't as well, but they could do it. It's
Yeah,
just an
I
option.
get the feeling the character will probably be called Link no matter what, but you can probably name the file anything you want, but it probably
Yeah.
won't affect the game. That's what I
That's
think.
the way they'll probably do it.
Yeah.
That's probably a safe bet.
Yeah, this wouldn't be the first time we can't name Link. I mean, Four Swords Adventures, we couldn't either.
Right.
So,
That's
Unless possibly.
Although
maybe
you can
we
do a
don't
lot of
even
things
have
in
a
Four
file
Swords
select.
Adventures, so...
yeah.
Well, it's such a big game, I wouldn't be surprised if they only allow you to have one file.
Yeah,
one save
exactly.
file on it.
In which case, you don't really. There's no need for naming your file anything.
That's true.
But will you get to name the horse?
Yeah, you can have several.
It's been
horses
confirmed. That's
with
been confirmed. You can name your
different
horse.
names. Yeah.
Okay.
Which,
So what are you
honestly,
guys gonna name your horses?
that was going to make or break the game for me. If you weren't able to name your horse, then I would say, screw this game, and like I'd buy it and immediately throw it in the trash or something if you couldn't name your horse. Because that,
Yeah.
everybody knows, that's the number one most important thing in any video game. Is to
Definitely.
be able to name your horse.
I'm definitely gonna have one Epona horse, and then after that, I'm probably just gonna name
That's
them
so
after.
generic, though. You
af-
can't you can't name a horse Epona. That's so generic
I mean,
and
one
unoriginal.
one of them at least. But after that, I'm probably just gonna start naming them after Zelda Dungeon members or something.
Oh,
I'm
I'm probably
gonna
gonna
name all my horses
I'm
after
probably
rock
gonna name all my
stars.
horses your mom, just so I can ride your mom everywhere,
Ooh.
all around the huge open world.
Yeah.
Ew.
Because that's also totally original, right?
I mean, totally. Just as original as
Yeah.
Epona.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
made it a habit in video games to name animals after famous people that I really like. So I'm probably gonna name my horses after musicians.
Oh well, in that case, I just name it after myself, because obviously, I know I'm super famous. Everybody loves me, right?
Of course.
I know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
I'm
Pokemon.
I'm
you
not
nickname your
egotistical
Pokemon.
in any way, clearly. Anyway, moving on from that, the next thing I want to talk about was the art style, because I feel like every opinion I've heard from people seems to praise the art style, and I can see why. I mean, it's beautiful. The game looks great, but what are you guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love this art style. I mean, yeah.
Nothing
I
more to
think
say.
it looks
good.
like a.
I know.
When I've watched the trailers, I've gotten the sense it just kind of looks like a really, really HD version of the Skyward Sword graphics to me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It's like a
differences, though.
It's like a combination of the Skyward Sword graphics and Wind Waker graphics.
I feel like it's the most similar to Wind Waker, if anything. But it's. I mean, obviously, it's not that. I mean, it's not the same, obviously, but I feel like it's the closest to Wind Waker.
Well, the only reason you're probably saying that is because of the color palette.
Possibly,
Just how
but
varied
it's
it is.
also more. I don't know. It looks.
Skyward Sword had a really bright color palette as well, though.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I guess the way, like, I don't know how to describe this, but like in Wind Waker, the colors, like one color had like only one shade of that color, or well, I guess it didn't. Never mind. This was I didn't even know how to continue the sentence.
Wind Waker's palette consisted of like 5 colors.
Yeah,
total.
and I feel like this one is. I mean, it's not the same. It's probably richer, but it's still like got a similar sense of tooniness, cartooniness to it. And also, like after having looked at a lot of screenshots from Breath of the Wild, I once went to look at it was a Let's Play of Twilight Princess, and man, Twilight Princess looks boring as shit.
I know.
After having looked at the Breath of the Wild images.
Yeah, I mean, it
See-
really does.
See, while it is the graphics are reminiscent of the more colorful, the bright, colorful, cartoony games like Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, the amount of detail that they put into everything is just amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's easily, like, you can tell they put a lot of work into it, and the game's been in development for, 7 years?
Is it
You can-
Something like
ever
that.
since the release
You-
of Skyward Sword, or
They've been working on it since before
Skyward
Skyward
or
Sword was
something.
released.
oh
And
Oh,
you
really?
can, looking at screenshots, like, I'm looking at screenshots right now, and, like, the amount of detail that I can see, and the amount of work they put into making the game look fantastic,
yeah
it does make up for such a long development period.
yeah definitely. It'll be worth the wait for sure.
And watching
Mhm.
gameplay footage, I think this game, like, it looks amazing to me. And I think it's probably, in my opinion, from what we've seen, the best looking Zelda game yet.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Which says a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Which says a lot, especially considering I praise the Skyward Sword's art style to no end.
Yeah.
This game throws Skyward Sword, like, down a cliff and just takes over.
Yeah. Also, one thing, although I don't know if that's like completely got to do with the art style, but these, well, I don't want to call them this, but the Ritos, which they have been confirmed to be, I'm
Have they been confirmed to be Ritos? Or?
I'm pretty sure they were confirmed to actually be Ritos, but
Yep, that's been confirmed,
Dude,
as far as I know.
I'm
Yeah.
so disappointed in their new design. I don't know.
Actually, I prefer the old design myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you, it's a good design, but if you try to say that they're Ritos, it kind of takes it back for it a little bit, just because the old design was so good for bird people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the old design, the thing that stood out about them was the fact that they had a beak, but their beak functioned more like a nose,
Exactly.
and they had a mouth.
Yeah.
The new Ritos don't have a mouth; they've just got a beak, so they don't look like bird people. They just look like birds.
Exactly. And they also have bird feet this time around. The Ritos in Wind
Yeah.
Waker had human feet.
And they wore shoes and sandals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot about the design that, like, I would have been fine with them just being a new race entirely. But, I don't know, the fact that they're actually Ritos, apparently, just makes me disappointed. Because I like, the Ritos are my favorite Zelda race ever. And seeing them become this, I don't know, I'm not so happy with that.
Plus, we've got Rito and we've got Zoras in the same game. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah.
I mean, the only way that I'm thinking it could work is if it's between Ocarina and Wind Waker.
I don't know. I think they just should have been something else.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's explained in the game.
I can see if they were like the Foca or something, because we haven't seen those for a really long time.
Yeah, I was really hoping for them to be that, actually. Because they are more similar to them. Even though they're not exactly the same as the Foca, they're still more similar to the Foca.
And obviously,
Yeah, and
I'd
especially
be...
as someone who was. Go ahead, you talk.
Okay. Obviously, I'd be super happy too if Falco was in Breath of the Wild.
Definitely. With his laser pistol.
Yep. Just running through the field, and all of a sudden, Landmaster!
Yeah.
Secret final
I
boss.
guess that's what we have Smash Bros. For.
That's like that that secret thing in Ocarina of Time, that test model.
Oh yeah.
Star Fox.
Yeah, there was an air wing in the Kokiri Forest.
Oh.
Like it's a glitch
I didn't know
thing,
that.
or kind of an Easter egg, kind of, I guess. Yeah.
So, last thing I really wanted to talk about regarding this game is the new announcement of the DLC. In case you don't know what the DLC is, basically what's included is, you've got some new clothing that you can unlock, including a shirt with the Breath of the Wild logo on it, for whatever reason. You can unlock a new hard mode, which they've been pretty vague about that so far, but it sounds like you're unlocking hard mode. There's also a new dungeon and some new story. That stuff's not getting released until the end of the year. But that's basically like the gist of what's in this DLC pack. So what do you guys think of DLC in Zelda for the very first time? Excluding Hyrule Warriors, of course, but
Well,
It had to happen
DLC in Zelda.
eventually.
What do you guys think about that?
well, actually, other than this new story and the new dungeon, overall, it's just lame. Like, there should already be a hard mode. You don't have to download. And I remember reading that there were treasure chests, and I just think that's kind of silly to have as a DLC.
Yeah, the way that basically works is as soon as you buy the DLC package, you'll get 3 treasure chests that appear in the Great Plateau of the Overworld. And one of them contains that t-shirt I mentioned, the one with the Nintendo Switch logo on it, which is just...
Because we need
That's
t-shirts
just
in Zelda.
stupid. Like, they don't need to have a Switch-branded t-shirt in that game. It doesn't
No, but
fit.
this
It's
is the kind
like-
of thing that you'd see in,
Is
like...
anybody actually gonna wear it? Ever?
No one wants to spend money on that anyway.
People will. though.
No, I'm not gonna...
If I buy the DLC, I will
I know
totally
they
wear
will.
that t-shirt.
I will.
Like, getting the t-shirt.
Like, this DLC pack costs $19.99, which basically you're
Too
paying
expensive.
$20 for a difficulty mode, plus a new dungeon and story, which altogether is probably worth about half, maybe less than half of that.
And a
Okay.
t-shirt.
To me, that's extremely disappointing. I never wanted Nintendo to sink to the level of the other game developers, but it seems they have, and they just keep begging for more money. If I get the game, which I won't until the summer probably, I probably will get the DLC just because, I mean, extra content. I'm not going to say no to that. But it doesn't stop me from being really disappointed with it and what it actually contains.
Thing is though, if this hard mode is only like a hero mode kind of thing where you take double damage and you don't get any actually they don't get any recovery hearts is like normal game now anyway if it's just the double damage, then it's like definitely not worth the money. But if they actually like change up the dungeons the way they did in Ocarina of Time Master Quest and make them harder, add new puzzles to all of the dungeons in the game, then I definitely think the DLC will be worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, really just... Yeah, and that is the big thing. We don't know a lot about it.
Exactly. So there's still a chance that it's going to be good. I really, really hope it's not just the double damage thing, because that would be so stupid for a DLC.
I guess we won't
Well, you
really
talked
know
about
until we see. Like, I guess do your research before you buy it.
But, yeah, I mean, you're saying it sounds stupid for a game to have that as their DLC, but this is a game that has a t-shirt as a DLC.
Well,
That's
yeah,
true.
True, yeah. I don't know what to expect.
Although it's been
Maybe-
confirmed now that the heroes' clothes are going to appear in the game, so I highly doubt I'm ever going to even change out of those.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
okay, that's not totally true. Probably most of my time playing the game is going to be spent with Link in his boxers. Let's face it, everybody's going to do that.
Pretty hot, yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to do a boxer's run of that game. There's just
sweating.
no way not to.
To be fair though, I've actually
would
grown to
assume-
really like the blue shirt that he's been wearing a lot in the videos we've seen.
Yeah, I like it too. I would assume though about the double damage thing that would be an amiibo thing like in previous games.
Well,
Like with the
like the
Ganondorf
Ganondorf,
amiibo?
yeah.
Yeah.
But the amiibo's just gonna be stuff like fish randomly popping up.
Yeah, but in Twilight Princess
Probably.
HD, you could have double damage by playing the hard mode and add on the Ganondorf, so you took like 4 times damage.
And that's really cool.
It is pretty cool.
They've said that the Ganondorf amiibo is going to be compatible with this game, but they haven't said what it does yet. So I wonder if it's going to be the same thing. I don't know. The only amiibo we actually know, like what its function is in the game, is the Wolf Link amiibo, which is virtually useless, really.
It's kind of mostly aesthetic, mostly.
And nobody's going to buy the Wolf Link amiibo just so they can have an extra companion running around killing enemies for them. The only
Yeah.
reason you'll have
Well,
the Wolf
I'm
Link
sure
amiibo
there will be.
is for Twilight Princess HD. Oh, there will be like those die-hard collectors.
Oh, definitely.
That
But they exist.
They do. We know a few.
they do. We know.
Those
We know a
people.
couple.
Yeah.
They've also said that some of the amiibo, like the Zelda amiibo and the Guardian amiibo and like the Bokoblin amiibo, they're gonna be used just to get extra items. So why would they go through the trouble of making completely new amiibo just for items that are probably gonna be not great?
Well, I'm sure they'll also work with like Mario Maker or something for the Wii U.
Probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
Just
But
as
that's just another.
skins.
That's just another thing, though. Like we've got this $20 DLC pack, plus we've got all this amiibo functionality that people are gonna buy all the amiibos that are compatible with this game. People will do that, and they'll buy all the DLC. You're paying like over $200 just to just to experience the game in its entirety, which is way too much.
Yeah. Well.
Of course, it doesn't even compare to Smash, but let's not get started on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much the Smash stuff costs, but they're not going to do some good stuff with the DLC, so...
Well, yeah, that like Smash is a good example. Smash, Mario Kart, Hyrule Warriors. Those are examples of good DLC. And those DLC is stuff that was added after the game was finished. This stuff was made DLC before the game's even been released. Like I could see maybe, after the game has been released and people have been playing it and people have beaten it and they say, yeah, let's make a new dungeon and give people more to experience. Then yeah, that's different. But before the game's released, 2 weeks before the game's released, they announced the DLC, and it makes it sound like the game is incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just Nintendo trying to make a quick buck, though.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how it can be a good marketing strategy, but I also see how it can be a bad marketing strategy. So, it's kind of 50-50 there.
It's a bit overwhelming to the player, I think.
Yeah.
Well, especially considering how big this game already is, and now they're giving us extra content. And,
But, yeah.
like,
we won't be able to
Aonuma
buy it
say-
though, right away.
yeah, you can buy it right away.
Release day
Oh.
DLC?
And didn't Aonuma say, like, it already takes over a week to 100% the game?
Like a week of non-stop
Yep, challenge
playing.
accepted.
Night
Like
and
a
day.
week of non-stop playing. Like that's already a ton of content. So why do we
Damn.
need this extra content? I mean, obviously it's a bit early to
Because
judge, seeing as
Nintendo.
none of us have actually played the game yet and it's not even released yet. But I don't know. First impressions of the DLC is thumbs down for me.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole... Yeah, I'm on your side of this.
Yeah.
I know some people who don't share that opinion, but
Mhm.
it's just my opinion.
So when we almost had this call...
Almost.
Not naming names.
This close.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that should about wrap up this Breath of the Wild discussion. We've got some good stuff in there, so thanks everybody for tuning in. Join us for the next segment, which is Petter's review segment, which is called
It's called Review Debate.
Woo!
Review Debates.
It's a good title.
All right, thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.
Welcome one and all to the review debate segment. I'm your host Petter on Pendio at the forums. In this segment, I will review something along with a guest who has a different opinion on the review topic compared to myself. If we're lucky, these different opinions will spark some debate. My guest reviewer in today's episode is Ari, or Link Floyd, at the forums. And our topic for today's review debate is Animal Crossing. We will be focusing on the main games of the franchise, which notably would be the GameCube game, the first one, and Wild World, and the Wii game, and New Leaf. We're not going into Amiibo Festival and whatever else there is. So we'll be going through the four main categories while reviewing this game franchise. So the first is gameplay, and I'll let you start by sharing your opinions on that, Ari.
Well, I think the gameplay is pretty straightforward. I mean, you collect furniture, you decorate your home, and you catch fish and catch bugs and get fossils for your museum, and you can either donate them to the museum or sell them for money. And the great thing I love about New Leaf is how you can get the different landmarks, I guess, around your town.
Oh yeah.
And you can pay for them. You can use the money you get from selling your fish and your trees, your fruit trees that you plant in the game, and put these little landmarks around the town to customize your town any way you want it. And I really like that. It's one of the things that game, it's like, it brings it's like a whole new level for that game. It gives it more meaning, I guess. Not that the Animal Crossing games weren't fun before, but I think that feature definitely makes it a lot more, I guess, immersive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're. I understand what you mean, even though maybe I don't agree with you completely. I guess my opinion on the gameplay in Animal Crossing is, well, I mean, it's very simple. It's not. I mean, obviously there's things to do, but it's not a whole lot to it, especially if you compare it to a lot of other gaming franchises. But I will admit that it can be strangely addictive sometimes. I know I've had my phases of when I've been playing Animal Crossing every day for quite a while. I've had a couple of those periods in my life when I've been playing a lot of it, but it usually that doesn't last all that long for me, because I tend to get a little I guess bored of it. The gameplay tends to get a little bit repetitive. I walk along the river catching fish. I sell the fish, and then I go back to fish some more. I mean, yeah, there's more to do, but it's a lot of back and forth.
I agree, but I disagree, because
Right.
I feel like when it comes to that game, you kind of have to. You can easily get stuck, like, just doing the same repetitive thing over and over, but I think there really is a lot to do. Like, you can make your own custom designs, for example, and place them around the town to make cute little paths and stuff like that. So it gives you an opportunity to be creative, too. And I'm not very good at making custom designs, but I do enjoy making them when
Oh yeah.
when I can.
I understand. Yeah, it's it is a nice creative aspect. Even if you don't create your designs yourself, I guess you can still decorate with them in a creative way. And also about the game world, I think in all of the games, it's always a very small game world.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe the games could benefit from having a little bit of a larger world, with some more to do in it. And also, something about the gameplay that I I'm not the biggest fan of is the fact that there's I mean, there are a lot of different, like, time-based events, like things that happen on certain days of the year or certain times of the day. There's a lot of stuff like that, which is a cool idea. Like, it's a nice idea because it makes it more close to the real world in a way.
Yeah.
But what I don't like about it is that it's so, like, in order for you to experience all of that, you really have to play the game pretty much all the time. You have to be ready for all these kinds of events. You have to stay up till 4 at night, or in the morning, if you will, to experience something. If it's something that happens, then you never know. And you have to play it all year round without getting bored, which to me is not so easy, because I will probably get bored before I've been playing the game for a year, so I probably won't experience all of the yearly events.
Well, I mean, there is a thing called options and date time settings. So.
I see where you're going. Yeah, you can do that.
Which I don't like to do that because it just like it takes away from the excitement of waiting for something to happen. But
yeah,
I
and also
have done it before, so it's.
Didn't they also kind of change that in the 3DS game or in New Leaf, so that if you change the date, it takes like 24 hours before the game is like actually set to that date or something like that? Or maybe that I'm confusing that with another 3DS game. I might be.
I'm not sure.
Whatever. And yeah, I think the game can, like, if we're talking immersiveness, you touched a little bit on that before, Ari. I can agree that it can be kind of immersive for a while. Just like I said, I can enjoy playing the game for a while. But I lose the immersiveness after having played it a while. After I get bored, I start losing the immersiveness because it gets tedious, in my opinion, just doing the same things over and over. And also the game is about, earning money so you can upgrade your house and get new things for your house and whatnot. But it's like you want to collect a bunch of things, but your inventory is so small, so you have to, I don't know, you just have to go back and forth all the time because your inventory won't fit very many things. So yeah, I think that can tend to get a little bit annoying. I think the game could benefit from a larger inventory.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with the game should have a larger inventory. Do you mean like pockets where you hold your stuff?
Yeah, exactly, like your bag. With you have room for, what is it, like 15 items or something? It's not a lot.
Yeah, like I do agree with that. But I think they should have like an upgrade or something for it. Like have it to where
I would be okay with that. If it's possible to upgrade the amount of items you can hold at a time, I think that would be good.
Because I think that would be something interesting, like to work towards.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be another thing to another thing to work towards, other than your house and your town. It could be, your bag as well. Yeah, I guess that's something we agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't always disagree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't always disagree. Just because we're supposed to have different opinions, we don't have all of the different opinions. The next topic is the story, and I guess I'll start a little bit by sharing my opinions on the story of the game. Which, well, I mean, this is Animal Crossing. The story is barely existent in my experience, anyway. It starts off with you moving into a town in pretty much all the games. Might be a little bit more to it in some of the games, but that's ultimately the story. You move into a town and you're making friends. That's pretty much all it is. So the story isn't really the game's strongest aspect, in my opinion. And the characters are mostly pretty flat, in my opinion, and very, very predictable. Like they're not particularly deep characters. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of characters. There's a bunch. But
About 400.
a lot of them.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know almost the exact amount.
Do you know the exact amount?
It's up in the 400s, I believe.
Oh,
I mean,
wow, yeah.
unless you like, and not counting like the characters that haven't been used since the GameCube version.
I see. Well, yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, as I said, yeah, there's a lot of characters, but even though there are a lot of characters, many of them are very similar personality wise. There's just there is a certain set of personalities, I guess, that they just
Yeah.
put on the different animals or the different characters. So even though there's a bunch of characters, there's not a lot of different personalities, which could make it seem a little bit cheap. And even if there's not, I mean, yeah, there's not a lot of personalities, and even the personalities that exist in the game they're all pretty basic, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my general opinion on the story and characters and whatnot. How about you?
When it comes to the story and the characters, for this game, I just don't think they really need depth or anything. And I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I can imagine that it would be pretty hard to give every single animal their own unique personality. But really, and I know this sounds shallow, but when it comes to, like, the actual game, I think the animals usually present their personality through their appearance and their clothing and their house more than they do when they speak.
You're right. Yeah,
So-
they all have a style. They decorate their house after and whatnot. Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's actually, the whole point of Animal Crossing is to, I guess, express yourself in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a game that, and you know me, I'm a huge fan of a game with a good story, but when it comes to that kind of game, it doesn't require a story at all, and that's totally okay.
I guess it is a kid's game ultimately, or at least I get the feeling it is. It seems like it was
Yeah.
intended as such. Judging by a lot of the aspects of the game, it feels like it was intended for kids.
I
But
started playing it when I was 10,
Right.
so...
Yeah. And but yeah, even if it is intended for kids, like I understand, like I can sort of accept that the story is kind of shallow, but even still, like, just because it's made for kids doesn't mean it has to have a dull story. Like, little kids can enjoy a good story as well, even if maybe they don't have the same expectations for a good story as someone older would. But yeah, I still think I would not, I would not complain if if future Animal Crossing installments had an actual story. I think that would be a nice thing, even though it would be different from how they are today. I think I would still probably prefer that if it's made well.
Just don't make it serious.
yeah. They'd have to keep the goofy style of it. Definitely.
I think what would be cute if, like, they made, like, little, like, side quest story things that were optional or DLC or something.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm usually not that positive to the idea of DLC, but if it's good.
I not, like, purchase DLC maybe, but, like,
Oh yeah, it could be
something
like free
they
DLC.
send through, like, Spot Pass or something like that.
Yeah. Should we move on to graphics, perhaps?
Sure.
You want to start by sharing your opinions on the graphics?
I think it's kind of along the lines of the story for me. I mean, it's simple. It works. I think it is perfect for the kind of game it is. It's pleasant to look at, and actually one of the things I really love is the way the waterfalls look in the game. I know it's a little thing, but
yeah. The
I like
little
to just
animation
kind
on
of, Yeah, I like to just stand at the beach, like right under the waterfall where my waterfall is in my town, and just like look up to the sky and it's like sunset. It's like, wow, this looks really adorable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. It is definitely a cute art style, which definitely, it fits the game, fits the kind of game that Animal Crossing is. And I feel like the graphics, like the graphics quality have definitely improved over the course of the games. For example, I have no complaints at all about the graphics quality in the Wii game and in New Leaf. I think the graphics there are like, I mean, it's all it should be. It doesn't need to be better than that. Whereas I guess in the GameCube game and Wild World on the DS, they look a little bit polygony,
Yeah.
But I mean, for their time, they were good. But that's just about graphics quality, which in general I'm not that picky with anyway. But yeah, the art style in all of the games, it's definitely a cute style that matches the other aspects of the game.
I just wonder
But,
sometimes
yeah.
I wonder what it would be like if they actually had made Animal Crossing like a 2D game. You know what I mean?
Like a top down, like you viewed
Yeah.
from above. Yeah. I think that would work just as well because the game doesn't really utilize the 3D space all that much.
Yeah, mainly just for like, I guess, the furniture, but even then you could do stuff with, I guess, pixels and whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
think
know what I'm talking about.
I know it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think in the case of Animal Crossing, it would probably, like, gameplay wise, it would probably work just as well as a pure 2D game. Since I feel like the gameplay is pretty much two-dimensional already anyway. But yeah, the graphics are they're nothing too fancy, but maybe maybe it's like with the story. Maybe it doesn't have to be. So yeah. Anything more to add about the graphics?
Nah.
Animation. There's some cool cute little animations that you can make your character.
Yeah, I love
do.
the emotions that you get to do in the game.
Yeah, you can.
Those actually make the game for me. I'm so glad they added those. I remember when they added those in Wild World and I was so excited. But it was kind of disappointing then because you could only have 4 of them, I believe, at the same time. Maybe
I
3,
see.
I can't remember. But now you can pretty much have all of them, so...
Yeah, it's I agree that it's a nice little thing. Even though it's pretty useless, I mean, it doesn't really add anything super important. It's a nice little side thing, for sure. Although then again, I guess most things in Animal Crossing are side things if you really look at it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really have a clear objective. Other than, I guess, paying your rent to Tom Nook. But yeah, I guess we move on to the last topic, which is audio. I'll start by sharing some of my thoughts on that. And this is probably the strongest aspect of the whole series, in my opinion, anyway. I think the games have some very iconic and memorable and definitely fitting musical pieces throughout the games. KK Slider is an amazing addition to the games, both as a character and as a musician, in the game. For those who don't know, KK Slider he's a dog who
Has a guitar.
Yeah, he started off by playing guitar at the local cafe, and I think in the most recent games he's a DJ. So he still does music, although it's quite different.
Yeah, he's a DJ every night, but then on Saturdays he does his regular thing that he does in the old games.
Oh yeah, he does the guitar on those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's a nice guy. He's a role model. Nah, not really, but he's cool.
He can be.
He can probably be. Yeah, he's got a lot of songs. Do you know how many he's got? I know you're more into this series than I am.
As far as I know, I think maybe like 40. I don't know. I have all of them, but
Oh,
I don't think I've sat
Yeah,
down and
he-
count them.
yeah. He'll give you his CDs after you've been there to listen to him play.
You can actually buy them at the biggest Tom Nook store, I believe.
Ah, that's cool. But yeah, definitely, the music is definitely a strong aspect of the game. And moving on to sound, which is also part of audio, I think the game's sound design is very similar in a sense to the graphics or to the art style, I guess, since it's very fitting, it's very cute, as it should be. Most notably, I'd say the quote unquote voice acting in the game when you talk to the villagers. Exactly. I think that's a very it's a very iconic and in my opinion very likable little thing. So yeah, what do you think about the audio?
Well, I think the music is great. As for the sound effects, they're fine. They match the game, but I will admit sometimes I keep the volume off when I'm doing things in the game because when the animals talk, I get kind of annoyed.
Oh, that's interesting. I praise their speech and you don't really like it as much.
It's cute when you first get on the game and you're talking to your neighbors, and then after a while it's just like, okay, shut up.
Yeah. And I mean, some of them have less high-pitched voices. I mean, I feel like most of them have pretty high-pitched voices, but there's some that have pretty deep voices. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, to me the audio is definitely the biggest, or at least one of the better things about the game in my opinion. I can listen to the music for ages, like go to YouTube and find some Animal Crossing tunes, just enjoy that without really playing the game. Of course, I enjoy it in the game as well because it really fits into the game. But yeah, the music is really good, and I enjoy the sound design as well. So yeah, I guess overall, the Animal Crossing main series to me is it's not among my favorite franchises. Definitely not. Although I've had a lot of nice moments playing the game. On a scale from 1 to 10, my rating of the series would be a generous 6. How about you?
Okay. I guess for me it's one of my favorite series. In fact, it's probably number 3 on my list, maybe, of favorite series.
Right.
At least favorite Nintendo series. But even in regular series, I'm pretty sure it's number 3. But anyways, out of 10, I probably would give it a 9.
I'm not surprised. But yeah, it can be enjoyable, even though it's not my kind of game. I guess maybe I'm just too old to enjoy them.
Or maybe it's just
maybe it's just
game.
my taste. Maybe that is what it is. I don't know. I'm sure there's boys who really love Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
though.
there are. I know there are.
Yeah, there has to be.
There's like all kinds of like YouTube people who are like playing it, and they're guys, and they're like, "Oh, Animal Crossing is my favorite game." So yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I think it manages to live up to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I guess, even though it may not be my kind of game, I still wouldn't say it's a bad game, because it is what it should be. So yeah, that's it for the review debate segment this time. Thank you, Ari, for joining me on this first time having this segment.
Mhm.
And I guess now we will move on to the master quiz that Chase will host. See you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next segment of the ZDI podcast called the Master Quiz. In case you forgot about me from like 2 segments ago, I'm Chase. Yo, what's up? And yeah, we're going to just be having a quiz of random trivia for 2 different guests we have. We don't really have guests today, we just have other people from the podcast. So say hello to Tristan and Petter.
What's up?
Hello.
Yeah, they're here. Yeah. So pretty much I'm going to ask them 5 questions. Whoever gets the most of them right is the winner, and we'll move on to coming back in the next episode to compete against someone else. You guys don't get to know who that is yet. And for the theme this week, we're going, I guess, a theme this 2 weeks, I guess, or month, or if we're going at the rate we have been this year, is theme Zelda. And it's just going to have 5 questions, each based around a different Zelda game. And yeah, are you guys ready to get started?
I am ready.
I was born ready.
All right. Well, and one more thing. I'm going to ask them the question, then they have to give some kind of noise that makes it so that we know they called. So yeah, that was Tristan's right there, and Petter. Yeah, that's his. So, yeah. All right, let's begin. So, the first question. In Majora's
My body
Mask.
is ready.
Okay, that is disturbing, but we will continue. In Majora's Mask, the postman actually writes a letter. Who does he write it to? Tristan.
I think it's to Madame Aroma, right?
No.
Oh.
Do you have any idea, Peter?
Oh, I get like a second guess then?
Yeah, if he doesn't get it right, you get to guess. By the way.
Right, okay. I don't actually know, but I'm gonna have to guess something because it's better than nothing. So I'm guessing it's for Anchio?
Nope. He writes the letter to himself about how great of a postman he is and how much he wants to leave, but the mail is more important.
How did I forget? That's like the very end of my favorite side quest ever. Damn.
Alright.
All right, so that is 1 point for Chase. I'm not even supposed to be getting points. You guys need to do better.
We do.
All right, so in Wind Waker, what is the name of the Earth Sage that was before Wind Waker? Meaning not Medley, but the other one. Okay, Petter, I heard you first.
Alright. The one before Medley was Laruto.
Correct. All right, so that's 1 point for Petter, 1 point for Chase, and then still nothing for Tristan. So, question 3.
I cry.
Twilight Princess. Actually, wait. I actually need to check if this is canon or if this is just something I heard.
Oh.
But I guess knowing my questions are right is kind of important.
I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit.
This feels so anticlimactic. Like you start reading the question.
Okay, so
and
we're
then
just
you're like, stop.
Yep. Let's see. Dun dun. Twilight Princess.
Really builds up the suspension.
Okay, so I was right. It is canon. Okay, at least according to
Okay.
Zelda Wiki.
Awesome.
If we could trust Zelda Wiki,
Zelda
we can do
Wiki.
this.
I don't trust ZD Wiki, but I trust Zelda Wiki.
Which is sad because we're the ZD podcast.
Yeah.
All right. In Twilight Princess, which ancient sage was murdered by Ganondorf? Petter.
That was totally
Rutil.
me first.
I think it was him. Might have just been because he was ladder, but it was close.
I mean, it's from Chase's point of view, it's the fairest because we can hear ourselves before the other. It was Rutila anyway.
I mean, I wasn't.
Right.
It doesn't give a name. It just gives what it's sage of.
Of water.
Yes, correct.
Well, isn't it Rutila though? Is she
They never
Prince Rallis' mother?
No, because while Rutella does die, the ancient sage was killed directly after Ocarina of Time when they were first sealing Ganondorf away. So, like the pre-Ruto stage.
So that's just a coincidence that she's the
Yeah.
Sage of Water.
Mm-hmm. Although I think Ganondorf just kind of hates Zoras, so...
Right.
Because, racism.
So that means you got the right answer by coincidence.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
All right. So, continuing into question 4. Oh yeah, thus far it's 2 for Petter and 1 for me still. Nothing for Tristan. Which of the following characters did not cameo in Link's Awakening? Yoshi, Kirby, or Samus? Tristan.
It was Samus.
That is correct. Samus did not. So that's 1 point for Tristan, 2 points for Petter, 1 point for me. And so, if I guess the winner of this question either chooses if Petter just moves on, or if you guys go on to my completely BS tiebreaker question.
Okay.
All right.
Or if neither of you guys get it somehow, because it should be a really easy question, and then I have to compete with Peter to win. In which case I just won't. So question 5. In Zelda 1's second quest, how many heads does Gleeok have? Tristan.
Still only has 3 heads, right?
Actually, in what I'm looking at, he does not. So, Peter, do you have an idea?
I think he's got 4.
Well, right now I'm looking at this YouTube video of someone fighting him in the second quest, and he has... Wait. Yeah, and he has 2 heads.
Oh, just
Really?
2. Wow.
I thought I remembered him having 3, but he only has 2 in this video. I guess I'm going to trust this guy, but I'm pretty sure that level 2 in the original game was not Gleeok, so...
Well, actually, that's technically a trick question, because in the second quest, there are actually 2, 3, and 4-headed versions.
Oh, there's 2 Gleeoks. One has 2, one has 3.
So that's a trick question.
Okay, so you know what? Let's just give it to Tristan. Why not?
Yeah.
Because I was messed up. Okay, so now you guys are tied.
Oh
Yay.
boy.
So time to go for this last question, which is really just a tiebreaker question, which you win if you entertain me.
Oh
So,
my.
Oh boy. Okay.
this is not the most interesting tiebreaker question I've come up with, but I'm gonna make you guys do it anyway. Breath of the Wild timeline placement. Go. You guys can just say it because I choose based on which entertains me more.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh god. Petter, you can go first.
Okay, well, I think it takes place after a 4th split of Ocarina of Time, in which
All right.
Ganondorf and Link became best buddies who drinks tea every Friday afternoon.
No. Obviously, it takes place after the Wind Waker. There's another timeline split after the Wind Waker, by the way, because you know the story, the Sword and the Stone. That actually happened after the Wind Waker when they pulled the sword out of Ganondorf's head, and then like Merlin and shit. It's not actually Merlin. His name's actually Gandalf. Anyway, so the guy pulls the sword out of Ganondorf's head, and then Gandalf removes all the water, and so Hyrule's not flooded anymore, and that's why the Temple of Time appears. Yeah.
So for my opinion,
and the one that pulled the sword out of Ganondorf's head is the son of Link from Skyward Sword.
All right.
because that's only 100 years between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild.
Hey, people don't age in Zelda, okay?
I mean, that's true.
Good one.
Except for the one time where there's an entire game mechanic behind aging.
Okay, well, that's actually happened in more than one game, but still, that's where Breath of the Wild happens, is post Wind Waker in the second alternate timeline.
Oh yeah, I guess Impa did age in Skyward Sword as well.
Significantly, yes.
And so yeah, there's more than one. But anyway, so here's my thoughts on this whole thing. Tristan's is more entertaining, but it's also more BS. So
The point was to entertain you, though.
That is true.
That's what
Maybe
you said.
I kept mine too simple.
So Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Tristan. I'm sorry, Peter.
No, he's deserving of it.
Yes, Tristan. Tristan, congratulations! You won the first episode of the Master Quiz.
Yay! I'm actually gonna make a thread on that right now because I mean, obviously, it's the right answer.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, you have me convinced.
Oh shit! I can't do that. I bought the Breath of the Wild opt-out. Oh, to the Lorule Lounge it is.
I mean, you'll be getting better answers in the Lorule Lounge anyway.
I'm sure.
Now, I'm just happy we didn't have Bach on here because Bach would have said the one timeline, like the merging timeline, and I would have just been like, no, screw that thing, screw you. Other person wins automatically.
Bach would have said that it takes place, in the modern times. Link plays hockey in the Temple of Time ruins, and the grass that we see, all the grass isn't actually grass. It's actually bok choy. It's like a bunch of stalks of bok choy that are growing all over the place.
I'm completely overestimating Bach or underestimating him. I don't know. Depending on how you view it.
By the way, he's a Red Wings fan. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't even know what the Red Wings are.
I don't either.
By the way, Bach, if you're listening to this, I hate the merge timeline idea. So yeah, there's that. And, I guess that's the end of the Master Quiz for this year. So guys, thank you both for coming.
Thank you for having us.
This is probably, if you guys can hear the applause, it's all the applause we're getting, probably. Unless Tristan decides to edit something in later. Which, who knows if you will or not. Are you done?
I'm not sharing my Skittles, by the way.
Okay, Peter wins. Okay, Tristan won it fair and square.
Yeah, he did.
So, goodbye, everyone. Thank you for coming. And see you next year for when we finally come out with episode 3 or episode 2 or maybe even episode 1 if we feel like calling it that. Or, if we actually edit stuff, then maybe you'll see us again in 2 weeks. Let's hope that's true. And from all of us here at the ZDI Podcast, thanks for listening in.
Bye.
Good night. Love you all.
It's creepy.